like, it's all shit. Everything about it is shit. I was like, okay, thank you for that feedback. I was like, but what should I do differently? He's like, all of it. Some of that's in there too.
Should I do different? All of it.
He's like, some of it's too light.
Different.
It's going to fall out. I was like, well, do I need to like fix it? He's like, no, just let it fall out. Hopefully it all falls out and then we'll be better off.
Welcome back to more Artistry Unearthed. We are Cryptic Tattoo and Social Gallery in Springfield, Missouri. I am Nate.
And I'm David.
I'm Kelsey.
And for this episode, we're going to do something that we've been kicking around for a little while. Like, some of us haven't been in the tattoo industry for too awful long, but we like to reminisce, or sometimes we catch ourselves looking at pictures of stuff that we did during our apprenticeship. And sometimes we're like, oh, that was a cool piece. Or, oh, I really miss that client. I wonder what they're up to. Or, you know, like, this is awful. And these are,
I can't believe I did that.
I can't believe it did. Yeah. So we wanted to kind of reminisce a little bit. We wanted to go back into the way back and dig up some of our earliest tattoos that we started with. Now, granted, David has a lot more time under his belt than we do. So ours are still a little more fresh in our minds. For your sake, though, I'm not entirely sure they had cameras back then. So
yeah, I wasn't going back and digging up, chiseled tablets, of pictures.
But we do have one really good one that you have talked about for a while, and we've mentioned it before on the podcast, so we get to actually get a picture of it. So, and then Kelsey and I being only like I think 3 years or 2 to 4 years between us.
Year 3.
Okay.
I'm at the beginning of year 3.
Yeah, and I'm at the beginning of year 4. So, there's just. We have some pictures lined up to show you guys to just kind of talk about where we were at the time and our headspace, and a lot of it also the environment. I think we can avoid for the most part the environment that we were in and the influence it had, but just kind of give you some insight as to where people start in tattooing. So yeah, hopefully you're watching this episode, not just listening, because it's going to be very visual, but it'll be interesting.
Still funny nonetheless.
Yeah. So David how long has it been now? Has it been 26 years now? 27 years?
I'm in year 26.
26? Yeah.
So early on, like starting my apprenticeship was very unorthodox. So I wasn't taught the proper way. I was kind of just thrown into the mix of stuff. I remember buying my machine. It was a coil machine. It was a time machine that I bought for $275. That was the first machine I had ever bought. And learning to line was incredibly scary. Was not taught about needles, was not taught on a coil machine how to set your depth, how to do all this, where now you've got all of that so easy to do. Like when you set that whole thing with a coil, it's totally different. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to do my very first tattoo, and I had to tattoo myself. So I'm like, all right, I was super excited. Wasn't scared, wasn't nervous because it was a tattoo on myself. Mm-hmm. But it was that aspect that, okay, I've got to set my machine up. I've got to do all this stuff and get ready to do this. I was given a 3-liner to do my piece. Now,
a 3-liner.
We all know how a 3-liner lines, and that we use a lot of those for details and fine line work. And so I get in there, get all my stuff set up, get in there, start lining. And I'll tell you what, if that didn't hurt so bad, it hurt so bad. And I did it on the top of my right knee. Because I figured, okay, flatter surface, that's easier to deal with. I'm so glad I didn't tattoo like my arm or something.
Right. Well, at least you could stretch.
I did it to where I could hide it, shorts, all that stuff. And rightfully so now, because, oh my God. Yeah. Anyways, so I sat down, I do this piece. The piece, I want to say, I believe it is a Paul Booth flash piece, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I think it's a Paul Booth flash piece. And mind you guys, I destroyed this piece. So you guys will all get a great laugh because I still laugh at it. And I think it's the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my life. It could literally go into Carnival of Ink's worst tattoos. I should probably enter it for myself just so I could get a free one or try to get a free one out of it, just to cover it up because it's bad.
I mean, they watch
It's
the
bad.
show, so you're probably spoiling it.
Yeah. So, I did the piece, super proud of myself. Now, when you go and you look at it, it is clearly not lined like a 3.
No. So when you think
it looks like a big fat 7-liner.
At least.
Right.
Yeah, lines blown out everywhere.
So there's a tattoo next to it that's actually done properly. Do you know what liner size that one was?
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's and I won't name drop.
Uh-huh.
Heavy-handed artist, very heavy-handed
yeah.
artist. Okay, that was not lined with a 9 or a 14.
No, that was lined with a 3 also, I bet.
7.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but he was a
Okay.
very heavy-handed.
And your 3
artist.
looks like the same.
It looks like a
thickness
Same size.
as a
almost 5.
heavy-handed
Like
tat.
it looks just like a heavy. Yeah, that looks.
It's ridiculous.
No, and
It's
that's
so
interesting.
ridiculous.
Like because a 3-liner, like you said, is typically used for like fine line, like or finer details. I mean, it's the next stage above. It's the next size above one single needle liners. So, and it's 3-liners that are just a little. That's just a little bit bigger than a single. So, 3-liners are not little. They're not big. They're almost, for a lot of people. I think a lot of tattoo artists they keep 3s as their baseline, like bottom
Like
smallest
that
needle.
needle hung out so far.
To the bone.
And
is
it
what-
just pretty like I'm surprised. You can probably go ahead and look at my femur and
Did
probably,
it heal all right? Did it get infected?
No, not once. Okay, now if you notice like right where the eye should be,
Okay.
like that, like the eyelid,
Mm-hmm.
it is clearly scarred and banged up.
Mm-hmm.
you could tell people that you did it with a 7, and people would be like, "Oh, all right, yeah,
and-
that's legit."
And of course, that was done. I want to say I did that with the 7-round shader,
Okay.
the fill in, because the little triangles in the center, those the
The
I
spikes.
guess the arrows, the points, whatever you want to call them. Those were actually colored in red. They are so severely faded and horrible. But then again, the inks back then weren't as good as they are now.
No, that's something to take into
So,
account too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a horrifying tattoo. I mean,
But at the time, were you all
it's just
about it?
bad.
Like, hell
it's
yeah.
just bad.
Yeah. What did you think right after you did it? Were you like,
I was
did it.
excited.
I nailed it.
Of course you're gonna think that. I literally was like excited. Cool, I did my very first tattoo.
Yeah.
This is awesome. Just the aspect of understanding and having the knowledge that I have now, and to be able to go back and look at that and not being taught. Like I had to go and watch instead of my mentor showing me how to set the needle depth, I was watching other people do that.
Mhm.
And then was like, oh, that's how you do that. And then once I figured that out, things were way different, way different. Oh, okay, it works like this. But then shifting gears, like my first client that I actually did my very first tattoo on, of course, was a non-paying customer. It was like, look, I need somebody to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And she volunteered. She was a coworker of mine. She was like, I'll do this. And I remember sitting down and having that machine all set up, ready to go. And that is the scariest thing on the planet, to sit there and you go, okay, I'm going to mark this person up. And I clearly don't know fully everything that I probably should know.
Yeah.
I mean, the tattoo didn't turn out bad.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely didn't turn out like the one that's on me, for sure. It didn't turn out like that, because I had already at that point figured out, okay, this is how I set this up. This is how I do this. And so I had better knowledge going into that piece than I did when I first did that one. That one was just like, here's a machine, have fun.
Right.
Okay. And
There's-
off we went. But understanding just how, I mean, there were still jitters there. There were still certain things, because I remember him telling me like it was yesterday, you need to breathe. breathe and relax, breathe and relax. Because the minute you got close to the skin, your hand starts to shake, and you're like, okay, I got this. I got this. I mean, there's nothing that takes that away. I mean, I've seen it with, multiple people that are fresh into it, and they just, the minute they go to tattoo somebody for the first time, they're just like, oh,
Yeah, no, that
like,
absolutely makes sense.
Breathe.
I assumed that, I mean, I had to hold back on coffee. I realized that didn't help. But overall, like, there's no other industry that I've done in any other art form that made me throw up in a parking lot. I mean, granted, that situation, I was kind of thrown under a bus. Like, he was just like, I don't want to do this one, you do it. And I had no idea what I was doing. And it turned out I was not qualified to do it. But I did. And it turned out fine. It was great.
I mean, I still have...
there's no other industry that makes you, like, that much in your head. And even just having somebody tell you, like, hey, just breathe. Everything you're experiencing is normal.
Yeah,
and that's the thing I remember one of the first conversations I had with Mandy, which was a few months in. Yeah, several months in. Like, she explained, she goes, actually 100% of what you just went through is actually normal. And you later on were like, you don't really shake it. You get used to it, you identify with it, and it should stay there for the most part. Otherwise you don't care. And I'm just like, great. So this is going to be like, I mean, my anxiety is already high enough and I'm going to be making myself sick. It wasn't the case. I see what you mean now. But at the time, like when you guys, that was like, if I had somebody early on to just be like, no, your panic is normal. You'll get over it.
Because you understand that's permanent. That's there forever. You can't erase that. There's,
the stakes are different than other art industries.
Right.
There are other industries where the stakes are high and permanent, but like in art.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've got photos like when we were talking about doing this episode, and I've got photos somewhere, and I know I do.
We'll
a lot of that
revisit
early
this.
on stuff to where I've got one of a rose that to this day, I hope and pray that lady got that covered up. Granted, it's not very big. It's probably a couple inches, but it's like, it is the worst thing that I've ever seen. Like the line work is shady. I mean, it's definitely not blown out like what's on my leg, but you can see the skip marks in it. You can tell there's no line consistency. It's all shaky all over the place. The color is horrible. But I mean, you start somewhere and you grow and you grow and you grow, and it's kind of up to you where you take it. But
you have it kind of partially like it, I wouldn't say partially covered, but there, it's hugging hugging on it. But you've already been in talks with Haley
or Alexis, I think.
Or was it Alexis or Haley to cover it up?
Oh, Alexis.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. No, you've been in talks to have it covered up. After all these years, your very first piece you ever done, which was on yourself. And it's fun that you could look at it and laugh at it. For us, it's just interesting to see, But like you're gonna be like, I heard it. I'm gonna cover.
I see it.
It's true. We have
his leg. He's carried it long enough,
right?
And I was hoping that like maybe this episode
over 26 years, it's like it's time to go.
Okay,
like
fair enough.
It's one of those. And not that I don't have. I've got 2 other pieces that I've done.
That's fine.
And another one will get covered up eventually.
Well, we got a picture of it, so it's fine.
It's just that
it's immortalized on the YouTubes now.
I don't need to see it anymore. I've got so many other pieces. I need to kind of connect everything and make it cohesive. Otherwise it's like you see this great, all this work, and then it's where'd that come from?
that's the conversation starter.
Like, what is that and why?
You don't wear short shorts though, so how many people are really going to see it? But...
I don't, but it's still one of those things that,
yeah,
it's still low enough to where
maybe he would if he was proud of his knee. Maybe.
Are you ashamed of your knee?
After Alexis covers it up, he's going to have a talk with your knee? Some Hordad shorts, some Daisy Dukes,
some 1970s basketball shorts.
Yes.
You'll never see.
We're all family.
Debbie's not going to let you leave the house.
No.
Don't be ashamed of your knees, David.
No, we
love your knees.
All right, let's look at something Nate did. Nate, where do you want to start?
So. There's actually start with the third one down.
This one?
Yeah. This was that's exactly what it looks like. It is a washing machine.
It's a stove without burners.
It is a washing machine. This thing is actually a relic of Springfield.
It looks like a rug.
Way back in the day, whenever I first met, I pal around with a lot of like bartenders and venue owners and stuff in Springfield when I was doing graphic design in the beginning. Most of my work was these people that brought me in. I was the boring, sober kid that they had, like artists that they kept in their pocket. But this one location, which is no longer here in Springfield, called the Outland, had a wild history of parties in a very like secluded back room, which is the laundry room. It was really just a room with this washer, and there was so many wild things that happened on this washer.
Oh boy, one of those.
And I don't know, I just like probably to this washer as well. But
this washer has seen things.
It has seen some shit. Yeah. So it's
its lifetime on the spin cycle.
But it stayed true. Like it was, you know, like all it had to do was wash towels. But yeah, like that room in the Outland, this washer has probably had far more, like 3 lifetimes of party stories to share.
That's crazy.
So there's a handful, nearly all bartenders in the downtown area at the time that really took, they all came together during my apprenticeship, and they're like, this pretty much brought me to the end of my apprenticeship list, which was only 50 procedures in Missouri, which is not much.
That's a lot of washing machines.
But this is close to, I think this was like almost the last 10 of them were done, was this design on a bunch of bartenders.
That's not an easy design for an apprentice, because you have a lot of parallel, perfectly straight lines.
Right.
And geometric tattoos, while they can look simple because they're not complex imagery, they're easy to understand, they're actually really difficult because geometry is not
the
forgiving.
point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The angle was interesting. Yeah. So the small circles on the back panel, that was a pain.
Definitely
every time.
Circles.
Because I mean, who knows? They're probably closed up by now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because they weren't very big. I think it was only like 2, maybe 3 inches tall. Probably only 2 inches tall. The very fine lines. I was using
that I've got in my garage that I need to get rid of.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you might need to ask that washer for some stories.
It has none.
Oh,
other than I broke down.
You just imagine whenever you buy washers on
Craigslist?
Marketplace,
those are the ones you see for $25.
How much you like, man?
But those old ones last forever, though. They don't
Mine
break after
did.
a year
It took
like
us
the new
forever
ones.
before.
But that was a cool experience, because just to see some of the people I palled around, like the venue owners and stuff, they all came together under a memory that I was only invited in to begin with, and they have this washing machine. Who knows where it is now, but immortalized on their body. It's something that I was actually really proud of to be a part of.
Like enshrined or encased in something.
Who knows? Because
Right.
yeah, a lot happened with the Outland since then. So who knows where it is? But yeah, that was I think I was using single liners, because at the time my mentor used nothing but bug pins pretty much. So that was a tiny. That was probably like a 10. It was probably maybe a 10-3 at the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a bug pin for sure.
What do you want to look at next?
The one, let's go two up. Yeah, the 3-headed one. This piece is interesting because it was the first of this kind. This piece kind of helped me understand like line work, illustration. Like this was the first time I really tested my line work and the illustration, kind of almost black work kind of stuff. And I got to play with textures for the first time in this. You see there's like stippling and dots. Most of that stippling was like literal, like just me just by hand, dot, you know, just meticulously putting them in. So this gave me this piece was like 3 different techniques that I'd never done before. And this really, I remember this one being the thing that helped me identify, like, I like line work. That if I get good with line work and texture, I could probably do this. Because at this stage, I had no idea if I was invited in, I was still entertaining, like, is this even a thing I could do? But this piece was one of those that connected a lot of dots for me, pun partially intended.
I'll give you kudos for the, either those are stretch marks or they are cut marks.
Those are cut marks. Yeah, she was a cutter.
Those are pretty deep, and to not where that one face is on our left right there, that there's no blowout through that says a lot.
The other side of this piece that I remember, this is my biggest memory about this is why it stands out, was because this was the piece that you talked to me about for the first time.
Oh.
This is the one where she was standing up. She looked in the mirror. She was all like, "Oh my gosh, I love it." you come walking out down the hallway at our last location, and you stopped, and you put your glasses on. You got down on one knee, and you looked it over for like a minute. And you were like, that's pretty solid, man. Good work. And that was the first time that I had anybody really like kind of give me insight, especially you. Mm-hmm. So that was a big deal to me. That was a big piece of validation, and I trusted that you would have been honest, because you didn't owe me any explanation. You didn't have to look at it. It was obvious that, you know, we look at it in hindsight, and there was reasons why the rest of the team were really reluctant to talk to me in the beginning, and we don't have to go into that, but this was the first time that you kind of, you took the time, and I've always appreciated it. So this one's been immortalized in my brain.
That's cool, because it kind of showed you both from a coworker perspective and from the techniques that you tried. Mm-hmm. Like this was a feasible thing that you could.
That's the first piece that people are like, really, "Oh, you can do that stuff. Can you do this stuff?" That was a launching point. Mm-hmm. And then go to the Mammy one. So this is my character Mammy from my graphic novel that I published. And just for the first time, actually 2 people have Mammy on them. And this was the first time I've ever had like my own original character. Somebody wanted my original character on them, which is incredibly flattering. It's like people like the book, people like the series. They like the characters, but they don't really read the content. They're just happy that it's there. But for somebody to have it on their body, something that I created, and it hits different. This was the first one. I want to go back a color.
Like this would be so cool if it was like super bold outline.
Right. I want to go back and like thicken it. I want to add color. And that's the thing, is I want to go sticker style with it. Mm-hmm. And I totally can, but it's been a few years since I've done it. So I'd love to do another sticker one. So anybody out there, cool, any Potbelly Mammoth fans out there want to sticker style Mammy, I'll probably do it for free, just because I think it would be a lot of fun. Because I did.
Oh, there you go. People free tattoo.
I mean, I did a sticker style recently that was the first time I've ever done it, and people were really impressed by it, and I was really impressed even, and that's hard for me. So so I'm like, I don't know, let's sticker everything. So no, I'd love to. I mean, I would be. It's different when it's your own character from Right. I mean, it's published work, but it's not. I don't know. It's still mine. He's my face. I've branded everything Mammoth from the creation of this series. And so to have that, and then even my mentor, my last procedure, he wanted a Mammy on him as well, which is still really flattering.
He looks like he needs to blow his nose.
He probably does.
It's just all congested. He's like,
oh yeah, like it's all knotted up there. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's all just built up in his nose.
No, those really stood out. I mean, there's the Lucky Cat one. That one was interesting.
The Lucky Cat is cool. I like the Lucky Cat.
You remember this one too? This was another you interaction. This was because you'd already like given me kudos on one piece, so I was on cloud 9. This was probably a few weeks later. I had somebody that came in with this, and this was one of the first times that I could have used a round shader or a really heavy liner, but I didn't. I was still using like single needles. I was still using 3 liners. So I had to outline the outside edge of all of that heavy black line and then fill it in. That's all that line work is all filled in with a liner. Every bit of this was done with a liner. God. And so, needless to say, the yellow didn't stick. And I remember, David, you came by and I was like, hey, David, she came back for a touch up. And overall, I had to go into some of the black and clean up some of the black. And I was like, but I used a liner, so it wasn't like my saturation was bad. It was just, I was moving a little fast, I think. But I had a problem with the yellow.
Like just execution, like picking the right needles to do the right job.
In hindsight, I would have used a heavier liner.
Yeah.
But I didn't, at the time, I didn't know that anything existed more than a 3. Or that a 5, maybe.
A good thing for someone to teach you as an apprentice.
Well, there was a lot of liners to choose from.
But there's some stuff you have to
that yellow
to teach people and go, look, you need to understand how to pick up a line. And those are generally the easiest to do. It's like, okay, let me give you a 3 and then let me give you a 5.
Right.
Learn to pick up those lines. And once you do that, we'll graduate to a 7 and we'll go from there.
I was jealous. But Haley got to line with round shaders during her apprenticeship. I'm like, geez, I didn't even know a 9 was a thing. But the thing about the Lucky Cat, the reason why it's such a big deal was because after you had complimented the first piece, I was like, hey, David, I'm having an issue. Can you look at this? And it was that patch of yellow on the stomach.
Right.
And you looked at it and I was like, the yellow doesn't stick. And I was already in my head because others had said, well, yellow sucks. Yellow sucks for everybody.
Not yellow. Yellow sucks.
And that's what it's like. It's just yellow sucks.
Just put it in there.
And so, and that's what he, and
well,
that's kind of what
he's
he said.
putting it in there with like a 10.3 or something, or
And I was
10.5.
right.
That's
I was
really
already
bad.
frustrated with my saturation and whenever I asked him about it, and he'd just be like, "Oh, you just did a bad tattoo. It's no big deal." And it's like, no. So I was already getting frustrated with my saturation and yellow. On top of that, I saw your yellow. I saw the other yellow, like, and he's heavy handed, but he was like, he and the other two that were huge into color. I'm like, I see their colors. Why am I struggling? And you're like, you ask the client, do you mind if I step in? And you put on gloves, you sat down, you explained to me needle depth for the first time. You explained to me the angle that I was holding it. You tilted it back. You explained a mag and how you can get very fine details if you angle your mag certain ways. And you put it at the edge and you very small circles, very systematically put that yellow in. That picture was your yellow. You put that yellow in.
I didn't know that.
And
I was going to say it looks really saturated.
it was very well done.
David did the
And
yellow.
because it was David that did it. And I mean, he may have done it like maybe the half of it and then I finished the second half of it, but it wasn't very big. So it wasn't that, but yeah, that was like.
Yeah, I think it was like an inch and a half by inch and a half or something.
It was tiny. Yeah, it was a little dude. But yeah, so there was, that, I don't know, like, but no, during my apprenticeship, I felt like overall, I'm not used to being bad at anything when I first started, which sounds egotistical, I know. But like usually when I get into things, I at least have like some framework or experience in other things to kind of apply to it. So I don't struggle very easily. And
that's, I mean,
there were aspects of tattooing that,
because there are people out there that are like that have been doing it for a long time still and are still like that and don't care that they're like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't like it was really that bad. It's like I knew I was good enough to do it. I just hadn't connected with the thing that made me want to keep working at it. And those two pieces were like, I felt progress in it. I wasn't just an artist in a handful of every other thing who happens to just be good at doing tattoos as well. Those moments were like, these are the things that are going to make me identify as a tattoo artist. Those are the small details that I was looking for. And it was you that provided those, even if it was by accident. So thank you.
I mean, it's not a bad thing to pass off knowledge. I mean,
at the time, it kind of was.
I mean, back in the day, it was always like you could go anywhere to any of the bigger conventions, and
I mean, the other two,
you'd watch, and you'd almost kind of get shunned away because it was like, how dare you sit here and watch what I'm doing? Or it's that aspect of, do you need something while you're standing there trying to take in what these artists are doing, and they just. It was hard for people that were learning, because you're always taught that, watch others, take in, ask questions. Those big names that were out there, you could not like intervene. You couldn't ask, you couldn't wonder. I mean, they literally would move you on past their booth because they didn't want you standing there. And it's like, this is a business where people want to see what you're doing. They want to watch.
Yeah, it's a visual.
And even other artists. I mean, it's to this day. I mean, I can go and walk around and still pick up stuff from people. And I absolutely love how interactive artists are today versus the other ones. Not that the other ones are bad. I mean, there were so many of them that I looked up to and were influenced by, but they were not in it to, I guess, share secrets or their trade or how they used a mag or how they did this or how they got this certain texture or effect. They weren't in it for that. They could give two shits about you, and it was all about what they were doing right then. A lot of times, I mean, I don't have problems with anybody coming up and watching and looking and asking questions, because I told myself then that, you know what, I'll never be like that. I don't want to be like that. Because this is something that is really taken hold, and it is far bigger than what it was 20 years ago. And
The last 4
if I
years
can
has
help
made
somebody
major difference.
get over a hump, by all means, I'm going to do that. I mean, it's not that I feel threatened by that person.
Mm-hmm.
I just want them to succeed. If you want to do better, try this. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then, I understand. It's not like anything, anything bad by it. It's not like I'm trying to downscale what you're doing. It's like you could probably do this or do this and get a different outcome.
I imagine it's a lot like raising kids, where it's like, you're going to hear about it years later in therapy, when the things that you said and did that stuck, the weird things that they're like, oh man, I guess I didn't remember that, but yeah, but good or bad, like it's odd that when you're in that closely knit group of people for that long in one like little shoebox room, like little things like that can make a big difference for somebody. And like, I love yellow now. In fact, I have my favorite yellow, and I want to use that on everything now.
Right.
But it just worked out really well.
Awesome. What are we looking at next?
This is my first tattoo.
Oh, we get Kelsey's stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
the dice.
and it was done way too small.
I don't know. Those little numbers.
Well,
What do they look
but
like
I can't
now, though?
fix it now.
Oh.
No, it still looks like this, but it can't be gone over or fixed because it's so tiny. So my husband still has this on the back of his calf. He was a trooper. Let me put these shaky, shaky lines on him. And then originally I was intending to put kind of like there was supposed to be a dragon in the middle, and then the full set of the 5 different dice types, and it was going to be a whole thing. But my mentor left and wasn't there when I did this tattoo. So a guy named Charms was there. Rest in peace, Charms. Love you, buddy. But I'd known him for like a week, and he stepped up owing me nothing and kind of helped me when I was in the middle of having a straight up anxiety attack, fighting with the printer and not being able to print a stencil. And because one of the printers had just literally burst into flames.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Had to like take it out on the curb. So then they had like brought in a different printer and then taken it to the other. It was like a whole thing. So I couldn't get the stencil printed. I couldn't get it resized. The numbers were backwards. At least this printer wasn't on fire, but it was a printer I was not accustomed to using, and they're all pretty different and finicky. And so finally got this thing stenciled. I was so afraid I was going to like mortally wound my husband. He's like, it's fine, seriously. Got this on there, and we all of us survived that day, even though there was no mentor. But definitely not how I would do it again.
No, not compared to the other dice that I saw you do on.
Yeah.
No, I would love to share a picture of that one.
Yeah, you've got.
So like
you keep revisiting the dice. It's almost like your benchmark. Like,
a year later, to like redeem myself, I did a different a D20 on him because I was wanting to learn how to do gold, since there's no such thing as actual gold ink.
Right.
There's different tones of yellow and brown and olive, but gold is an illusion you create, just like how you create the illusion of chrome by doing different tone layers and making things look metallic. So I did a gold realistic D20 on my husband a year after that to try to redeem myself. This beauty is my second tattoo, and man, so perfectly symmetrical, rounded things on the inside of an arm. That's soft meat. This was rough. I didn't know what I was doing. It was not good.
It's not bad.
This
guy has some blown out lines,
as
but
thin of a line as it is.
Like a nine round liner,
Is that what was that a 9?
No,
it looks
not
like a 5.
9. It was probably a 3 or a 5. I don't know, but I remember going to my mentor after this,
no, it looks like a 5,
and asking for feedback, and knowing that it was not great, but like asking, hey, like, can you like teach me literally anything? And I just remember him being like, it's shit, and then he laughed at me, and I was like, oh, I was like, well, could you be more specific?
He sang a song.
What about
it's
it?
It's a big time.
And how do I improve it? Like specifically, what could I do differently to be better? And he's like, he's like, it's all shit. Everything about it is shit. I was like, okay, thank you for that feedback. I was like, but what should I do differently? He's like, all of it. Some of that's in there too
I do different? All of it.
He's like, some of it's too light. It's going to fall out. I was like, well, do I need to like fix it? He's like, no, just let it fall out. Hopefully it all falls out and then we'll be better off.
Hopefully it all. No,
and that is all the constructive
on the outside
feedback I got. I did eventually go back and fill it in.
Right. That was my feedback is like, go in with a heavier liner. Just go in with a heavier and just redo the outside edge of it or fill it in.
No, I filled it in solid, which was the eventual plan, but I wasn't filling stuff in yet because I wasn't taught how to like pack color or black or shade.
Well, at least the one time that he told me that I was shit was like he sang a song. He goes, "You did a bad tattoo." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not. It's just it's solid blue that didn't get patched." And it wasn't nearly as bad as
a bad tattoo, but I could have used
demeaning though because you're learning.
Literally any feedback on what needle size to use, on how to lay the stencil properly, on how to stretch the skin, which I was not ever taught, and that was part of the problem. On how to hold my machine at the correct angle, on just anything.
I remember
anything would have been nice.
It was really when we moved here that you finally hit that line that I hit, where you were just fed up with. You're like, why is the saturation not working? Like, what am I doing? And I'm like, you're hitting the same block I did. Here's what I did, and like it worked. Like, you know, it just takes time. It honestly, it's like sometimes it just comes down to I'm fed up. I'm no longer too afraid to do too much because I know the system. Like, and I kept telling you, it's like you are wired to do too little all the time. You will always want to touch it up and always want to add more than have to take away. You have to trust that you're fine. If you get fed up and you want to get that color in there, you want to get that line work in there, just put it in because I trust you.
Right. Well, it turns out a lot of the issue, like some of it was depth and going too light, and that's taken a very, very long time to unlearn, and I'm still unlearning it.
Right.
But a lot of it was not having a good enough stretch.
Right.
Especially when I was working in tricky spots like the inside of an arm like that, or I had a couple of really amazing loyal clients that I was tattooing over and over again who were clients who'd had significant weight fluctuations. And so their skin was stretchier. And so whenever you're not getting a good enough stretch, you can just keep trying to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And that line's going to be too light, blown out.
Right.
It's never going to be a good line if the stretch isn't right. And so if I would have been taught how to position a client properly, which I was asking and just like was being stared at like I was from space, or how to stretch properly, I think it would have prevented some of those issues, and I wouldn't have had to spend, like, I'm still unlearning bad habits now, which is why
me too, actually. Yeah.
If you're interested in pursuing tattooing, you shouldn't just go order a machine on Amazon and start blasting your own skin and blasting your friends, because you're going to learn bad habits that would take a mentor a year or 2 years or 3 years to beat out of you.
Yeah.
And some mentors just won't take you on at that point because it's not worth the time and energy.
It's hard to unteach you all those bad habits, because inadvertently you're going to carry some of those with you. Yep. And you're going to continue with those bad habits. Yep. It takes a special person to be able to sit down and literally rewire yourself to go, okay, it can't be like this. It's got to be like this.
Right. But especially on something that's like geometric, and you have that symmetry, and you're dealing with perfectly straight lines, or you're dealing with perfect curves, to have sat down and drawn that design by hand on paper or traced it on paper like 4 or 5 times with a pen, and then to have done it on fake skin, and then to have done it on a person, I think I would have gone in with 20 times the confidence and probably would have done a way less bad job.
That's how you approached a recent piece, though. You had realism strawberries.
Yes. So I was starting a realism strawberry piece on my little sister. I was really intimidated because this is my first time tattooing anyone in my family outside of my husband and my in-laws. Like my family I grew up with, it's my first time tattooing one of them. So that's intimidating. I know I'm going to be seeing it all the time. So I'm going to be like judging the crap out of it. This is not somebody I'm going to see once every 10 years. And she is the only person in my family that already had tattoos. And the 2 tattoos she has are extraordinary. Shout out Chrome Crisis on Instagram. Amazing.
Really bright colored.
Yes.
Yeah, the colors on that are incredible.
Gorgeous. And one of them at this point is like 2 or 3 years healed and looks like it was done 3 weeks ago. Like absolutely gorgeous. The color theory is flawless. The saturation is flawless. The artistry is flawless. Gorgeous pieces. So there's kind of this relaxation, this deep breath that comes with somebody coming in, and that you could do like a tattoo at 50% of your skill level and it's going to be the best tattoo they have? Like, do you have that where you're like,
Yeah.
I know
Well,
with
it's not gonna be worse than
100%
that,
confidence, I haven't even touched the skin yet, and I'm going to give you your best tattoo today. And that feels really nice. And when somebody comes in that has like magazine quality work, you're like, uh-oh, I need to be on my A game. And she wants me to do something that I've never done before. I've never done realism fruit. I've played with realism like 3 or 4 times, but I've done metal and feathers in color. That might be about it. Water once, maybe. Yeah, I haven't done fruit. So I did it first on the fake skin and was so frustrated the whole time. And I'm like, I don't know anything. And it takes a while, color theory wise, to accept that there's so many differences in the color because your head wants to be like, strawberry is red strawberry.
No, there's a lot of different colors.
But there's so many different shades that don't look like they should be there. It's like, okay, well, we've got peach, we've got tan, we've got dark brown, we've got yellow.
There's an olive in there that you're using.
Like, these don't look like they belong. But if you just trust the reference and do it, then it looks great. And
Fruit
I'm glad.
flesh is not different than people.
Right. So the one I did on her, I feel like is 3 times better than the one I did on fake skin.
Yeah.
But when you get in on real skin, you only have so much time to spend there. And that's especially tricky to me with color realism because I want to be doing blends and gradients and it's so easy to overwork the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're working with like pinks and peaches that are so close to their skin tone, you start making that skin matte and you can't even tell if it's saturated.
Right.
Because everything just looks like ouch at that point. So I was glad I did a dry run on the fake skin first, which our mentor wouldn't allow us to do because he said fake skin is dumb. And fake skin does have its issues. Like, it's way tougher texture than actual skin. So it does make
your color's not going to be true.
Right. But like,
it's good. It's just like,
it was really good for me to have that test run. And I don't think I would have been as successful on real skin.
It's the aspect of how you do those test runs to allow yourself to understand your approach to the tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's not so much how you're going to execute. I guess maybe they're the same thing, but it's getting you to that point to where when you go in, it's giving you that level of confidence to go, okay, I did this once, I can do this again.
So that I know I have a plan.
Regular, it's on regular skin, but I understand my process, how I'm going to get there.
I think that's why David and Alexis have such really high detailed, really intricate stencils. Like they go in, they have dotted lines for where things are marked. They have every little detail has its own different line weight and different dotted line feature and everything because it's like, yeah, it's all the information they need while it's on the skin. But I think them spending an hour or two at least going through the artwork piece by piece, drawing out all the shapes, gives them a battle plan. And it kind of connects a lot of dots.
And it did have a detailed stencil.
That's exactly how I approach that. That helps me a lot with my line work. Is that I understand exactly how my hand movements are going to be, whether I'm going to push or pull a line, whether I'm going to go a certain angle, how I'm going to go after certain textures, and then understanding where all my light sources are. It is sometimes it looks like a complete train wreck, but it's my roadmap.
Right.
My roadmap tells me exactly.
You have those little memories of
I'm going to do it.
Why you drew out certain things.
And so when you get yourself into that groove of doing those things, every piece that you do, you understand, even all down to the smallest one. You're like, okay, I get exactly what I'm going to do here, here, and here. So then when you start it, you're just like, oh, I get it, and it's done. But then there are ones that I can get in and create the most intense roadmap and still run into a roadblock.
And still change it on the spot? Like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Change it on the spot. This is not going to work this way. I need it to do this. You just do that because it's a body part that, a flat surface is not the same as, a curvature. So you're like...
Right. But I needed to plan out for myself, like, what order I was going to go in with these colors because somebody told me early on, you go dark to light. And that just stuck in my head so much as a rule. and then trying to relearn with color realism, like you're going section by section. So we're going to do this, like this dark tone section at the bottom of the strawberry first, or then we're going to do this section over here on this side and get all of this side done. And if I skip around and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put the little dark shadow on every single seed through the entire piece, and I skip around too much, then things start to get irritated and I miss places. And I notice I have more gaps in between colors because I wasn't saturating it all in a swoop as I went. And then that also becomes harder on the client for larger pieces because you're having to go back to areas that you've already irritated.
But the difference is that you're on larger scale pieces, you've got more open area to work. Whereas smaller compact things, you're really getting in and you're being tedious and meticulous about certain things.
Right.
So I get your point as to where it would be a little more difficult to not overwork those areas. But when you're doing a broader piece, that you're able to really get in and move where you can't with the smaller stuff. So.
Right.
And I know what you mean. I'm wired to go dark to light as well. However, there are plenty of times where, especially with fades and realism, where it's like, I'll just do flats. I'll do my flat layer. Like I work like I do digitally, where I'll do my flats and then I'll put my shades, my darks, and then highlights. And I'll allow for room ahead of time just to make them pop a little more. But the way they blend and the way they set. But I also know that because I already worked that skin, I'm very limited on how I can attack the darks on top of it. I only have a small window. But if I know what I'm doing and I can get in there and get it done, I don't have it's not a problem.
And I'm not like doing a bunch of light colors packed and then packing black.
Right.
Like that's not what I was doing. And this piece had almost no dark wash in it. Just by the nature of the piece. And I was darkening areas with a deep red and with some I believe it's called darkest red. I don't know. But so there wasn't a lot of black. It would be different if it was a piece with large black areas. But
so in hindsight, we just kind of went on a little bit of a rabbit trail about how we approach tattoos now, and especially in styles that we'd never even like compare, really fine line, infinity symbols to realism strawberries, from, like a little lucky cat, like heavy line lucky cat to, something I've done recently was like a realism, sea turtle arm sleeve. Like, and I mean, whatever you have on your knee, to full on like award-winning color portraits, like in, going through all of it, like, do you have a review? Do you look at your stuff and be like, or do you identify with exactly what you were at the time?
At old stuff that I did, 20 plus years ago.
Right.
I mean, even stuff that's, just 20 years old. Like I cringe because it's like, man, if I would have gotten so much more knowledge early on, it may not have been like that. I don't know. There's even pieces now. I mean, I'm my own worst critic, and sometimes I hate it. But I can go in and look at a piece and go, wow, it's good. But then I get home and I spend too much time looking at it that it's like, this is wrong and this is wrong. Or I could have done this or done this, which then in turn keeps me from posting. Because
if you notice it, they're going to notice it.
Poster ever. But that's the reality of it for me. I mean, I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, it's that going through graphic design class and that teacher telling me, look, here, we want you to draw a picture of yourself, your critical self, and understand that, there are times when you just literally have to put the pencil down or the machine down and go, okay, I'm done.
Right. That's why deadlines.
And quit touching it, because then you understand that, okay, no, it's fine right where it's at. The minute you keep going back and going back and going back and going back to it is when the piece starts to fall apart. And then you've done way too much. And it's like you understanding when to hit the brakes and when to not hit the brakes is really difficult. And to this day, a guy who I do consider my mentor that really actually wasn't, but I look up to him like he's a mentor to me, has always told me that, look, the minute that you can't find something that you could do better in your pieces is the minute you need to stop doing what you're doing, because you should always find ways to improve and improve and improve. And if you can't do that, then your time in this business is done. You know, and I've always carried that with me. That's some of those words of wisdom, you know, that I will never.
I mean, could use improvement,
my brain.
and is unfinished are two different things. Like, we don't want to like confuse anybody, but I think anybody who's been in that position understands that, like, yeah, just picking at things. That's something that we talk about in Kaiju, is just even just having a deadline makes a world of difference. Like, I mean, it's done. I mean,
which
that's all.
Tattooing by nature,
right?
Which has been really nice for me because, like, I had an art background and I wasn't doing formal art classes except for pottery, which is a little different. But like, I would draw until it got hard, and then I would bail on it. And so I'd have this like beautiful picture of this realistic person that just didn't have a face or hands. Because I was like, but the rest is really nice though, right? I did really good on the rest. It's really great.
And that's a big thing with like the pen click, is that a lot of people are like, I have a month to come up with this piece. And yeah, they may wait until like the day before to do it. But every bit of the month leading up to it, they're pacing their bedrooms trying to think of what to come up with. And that's part of the process.
I think that's standard.
That's part of the process.
I want to say that's standard because I do that all the time.
Right.
I find myself doing and creating stuff better under pressure.
Right.
Than I do going, okay, look, I've got this done 2 weeks ahead of time. Like, I do some of my best work.
I've had clients
24 hours within and going, now let me sit down, and because now I become hyper focused.
Right. And I probably have maybe 1 or 2 pieces a year. Some years might not have any, that I can look back and be like, oh, that's a finished piece. That's like, you know, a milestone in my art journey because I was drawing it for someone else.
Right.
And so that forced me to be like, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday. It's Mother's Day. It's whatever. I'm going to finish this drawing of like a cardinal or some hydrangeas or a chimpanzee or whatever it was. And I would actually finish it. But those were the only pieces. Like, when I drew for myself, I would never finish it. And so
that was a lot of people's thing.
Has forced me, like, since I'm drawing for other people, since I get this choice paralysis so bad, I can draw it 3 ways if I want and be like, hey, which one? So I don't have to decide.
And that's the trap that I got into as well. Is
which
like,
color do you like better?
If I draw for me, I never drew just because. Even when I was a kid, I wanted to draw because I wanted to impress somebody else in some way. So if it was just for me, like, I would learn certain things. I would draw certain things just for the skill to put in my pocket and then to use later. So no, that's you know, that was a big reason why the pen click is 6 seasons in, is because there's a lot of artists that were like, I've never been like given a prompt and being told what to do and give it a deadline, and then present it, and then I have to talk about it like I'm proud of it. And I had to talk about it like what it meant to me. And that made a lot of connections for a lot of people. But that was my bread and butter. If I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be an artist. I wonder. Like, sometimes I just fall in that rabbit hole where I'm just like, I don't remember the last time I ever did art just because. I enjoy it. I'm glad I'm good at it. But, you know, and that's all these things that are compounding on you whenever you're in your apprenticeship, is like, you know, it's a different field and it's a completely different industry, but you still have to rely on your own drive and your own discipline to make things happen, especially in our case where we had YouTube and the person sitting next to us that wasn't talking to us to watch and compare and learn. And it was, sometimes you have all that. That's the only drive you have is like, look, people are going to be people know I'm going to be doing this. They're going to be expecting me to deliver. And you might not have a deadline, but when they're sitting in your chair, you have to perform. You have to do it. And it's something that I've been very impressed by. You had it harder than I did. I don't really feel like I had it that hard. I was in my own head a lot. But you went through some extra things that I don't know, I can't relate to.
I definitely didn't have it the hardest of anybody in the shop. But there was definitely some challenges and some things.
And you did amazing.
And what was
you're an award-winning artist now.
I came in and I feel like I was very, very, very clear about what I was looking for and what my expectations were. And I put that on the table. And there was every opportunity to be like, no, I can't offer that. And that was not
clearly,
what happened.
Yeah, I'll do this because you can put dollars in my pocket.
Yeah.
That's not what it should have been about.
But regardless, we did pretty good, I think.
Yep. I think we made it.
Onward and upward.
Yeah.
And, you know, huge thanks to you.
It would be good at some point to talk to an artist like, say, maybe Haley or someone else, like Kayla, our new artist in the shop, to talk to them about their apprenticeship experience and what kind of pieces they did and how they prepared for them. Because
this is going to be a series.
None of us can do a part two.
Yeah, we'll do a series of it.
So none of us had
total sequels,
like an ideal start to our journey, and we've gotten to where we are now, and that's great. But for someone to come in who actually had like the time and energy invested in them, who was taught to do things properly and received constructive feedback, not necessarily every time being like, yay, it's good, it's perfect, you did an amazing job, but like, you need to really commit to those blacks.
It's shit. It's all shit.
It's all shit.
I hope it falls out. I hope their arm falls off. That's a little extreme. There's a middle ground.
Right. It's got to be constructive.
Right.
So like to see someone who's had that kind of experience and something I try to say, like, you know, people like to talk about the time they've had in the industry, but not all time is the same value. So like the 1 year that Haley had training as an apprentice under you is far, far, far more valuable than like, say, my first 2 years of tattooing.
I think it's something that we want to make a series of. We bring in some of the other artists in the shop and bring in other, like, just to, you know, take some time to kind of reminisce about the days of old and to poke fun. No, not really to poke fun at people, but it's always really interesting to see where people begin.
I'll poke fun at myself.
No, yeah, I suppose it's different if it's yourself, but yeah, we'll poke fun at you because you're bulletproof to us, but you know, but I appreciate you guys.
Tell me it looks shitty. I don't care.
But thank you guys for doing this. I know we've been kicking around for a little bit, but I know it's interesting to go back and be like, oh my gosh. But so it was a big ask.
Yeah, I'd love to see a bunch of artists' first stuff that like their very first tattoo. Let's just see it. I mean, and I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that do phenomenal their first go, and that's great. Kudos to them. But I know
it's
that
not typical.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of artists. I'd love to see their first piece.
That's actually something I did before I started tattooing. That like I wouldn't have been able to get into this if I hadn't done that. I went and found 3 or 4 female artists in Springfield that were about my age or a little younger that I really admired their art style. And I was like, look at them doing this. Like, this is somebody I can see myself in this role. Like, I'm not an old biker guy, but I feel like I could be this. And I looked back, dug all the way to their bottom of their Instagram, and bless the people that don't ever clean out their Instagram and leave the old stuff on there, because it's inspiration material. Like, nobody's going to dig back to your 10 years ago and be like, oh, you suck. But somebody's going to dig back to it and be like, holy cow, you've grown so much.
Right.
So I made a little side-by-side for myself of like, okay, here's what they did in their first month. And here's what they're doing now, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years later. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like, I just have to stick it out. It's okay if I suck. I just have to stick it out, because at the end of year 1, at the end of year 3, I'm going to blow myself away.
Pays off.
I made the mistake of watching early on, watching Ink Master, watching very incredibly talented people struggle and get belittled. And I'm like, I have no hope. So I stopped about halfway through season 1 and didn't go back until like 2 or 3 years later. And it's like, oh, oddly, this is more entertaining than it was a year ago.
Like season 14.
But I think those shows ruin people.
Well, and that's what you explained. It was around the time that you started. We were talking, and you were just like that. You just revisit it in like another year or 2, and you'll feel different about it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Skip to later when they change the judges.
But either way, it was a huge ask of you guys. You know, especially with David, because he has to wear his shame, which I don't know why
I don't even really call it shame.
No, I hope not, because we were hoping that you would.
It was my first tattoo, and I've lived with it for that long.
But you want to cover it up, and we're like, last ditch effort for him to keep it. It's a relic of David. It's
going to be history.
But whatever.
We should throw a funeral party for your tattoo.
Okay.
We
can.
We can all wear little black party hats.
Yeah, party hats and just.
Yeah.
R.I.P. David's first tattoo.
But we'll definitely get in. I think, if I remember right, I think Alexis's first tattoo was the drawing that I did, that she did on the melon, and I want to tell that story.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting.
I hope that was her first. I mean, it was on a melon. It wasn't on a person, but it was.
Her moon phases was her first.
Well, that's the first one that she got. Oh. And if he messed it up, she would have to do one on him. Now, they never held him accountable. She never got to do hers, but I did the design for it, and she's right. And I remember the first time I looked at it on a melon. I'm like, damn, that's a good design. You did good. It looks better on a melon than it did on paper. So I knew that you're gonna be all right. But yeah, we'll get into that in another episode. But again, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Right.
Cool.
Like and subscribe.
Ding.